This is One-on-One. We are honored to be joined by Peter Karoff, who is the founder of the Philanthropic Initiative, otherwise known as TPI. Peter, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Steve. It's terrific to be here.
Listen, this whole initiative that we started talking about philanthropy and really playing off Angelica Berry's book, The Passion for Giving. Talk to us about TPI. What is the Philanthropic Initiative?
Philanthropic Initiative, we started in 1989, and we're in the business, if it is a business, it's a nonprofit business, of trying to promote philanthropy and try to be an ally and a resource to donors who want to combine their passions and values with strategic philanthropy. That's what we do.
Peter, you talked about the gifted giver in the book with Angelica, the gifted giver, the gift of love, the gift of energy, the gift of truth-telling, respect, courage, justice. What is the gifted giver?
A gifted giver is someone who combines the art and science of philanthropy, the art being what comes out of that person's soul, that person's passions, along with being thoughtful, intentional, and drive toward results. And that kind of gifted giver is the aspiration of people who are serious about their philanthropy.
Give us some examples of the so-called gifted giver.
One gifted giver that I know very well was Russell Berrie. He had an unbelievable intuitive sense of both what was right and wrong, a sense of justice, combined with a remarkable ability to be empathetic and to be a listener of what is going on around him. And he combined these things to develop what was an instinctive sense to give back into something that has become a powerful strategic philanthropic enterprise.
You know, it's interesting. One of the things that struck me is the other expression that is used in the chapter in the book is the strategic philanthropy. And there's an example up at Cambridge College of an anonymous donor, a story that you tell. And that when I was reading it, it struck me that is a great example of strategic philanthropy. It's about leveraging. Talk about it.
A marvelous story. Cambridge College is a highly regarded organization in Cambridge, Mass. that has been serving a population of people who normally would not go to college. Well, one of our clients, a real estate guy, comes along, and the college has decided to build a new $11 million building with a famous architect, and they approach our client, will you make a gift? So this guy looks around, he says, look, don't you know this real estate market's depressed? You want to build a new building? Let me poke around. He goes out and finds a 100,000 square foot building. The college at that time was renting 40,000 square feet and paying $800,000 in rent. He bought the building, put the college into half of it, rented out the other half, covered the entire cost of the acquisition. College moves from paying $800,000 in rent to Zippo. That is a leverage piece. It's equivalent to a $14 million endowment.
Peter, you have a whole range of clients nationally, but talk about some of your New Jersey-based clients.
Well, we've worked with Alan and Joan Bildner and their foundation, and Alan Bildner has always had a passion about diversity and about communities, and it came out of the time when he owned the King's supermarket business, which had over 60 different languages in it. And we had a wonderful program with the Bildner Foundation for a number of years that worked on diversity issues with colleges and universities in New Jersey. And we did a request for proposal out to all, I think there are 16 of them. 11 got grants, and we brought these groups together. We did terrific stuff, ranging from wonderful grants to Rutgers, to Ramapo, to all kinds of organizations. So very strategic. Lucent Technology Foundation, which in its years, even as that company went through different phases, the foundation was doing terrific work, working on diversity issues, working on health issues, very, very focused, very, very thoughtful.
Peter, talk to us about how it works. I mean, does a foundation reach out for TPI and say, look, Do they say, look, we're not sure how we want to do this, we want to be more strategic, we're not sure we're leveraging our dollars, or do you reach out for them and say, we think you need some help?
Well, that's presumptuous of us because every donor is entitled to establishing what their goals are and what they want to do. So it's not for us to say that what you're doing is wrong or not wrong. But I think in the main, it turns out to give away money is very hard. In fact, Aristotle said it's easier to make money than give money away. So it's not a new idea. So there is in this work an overhang of insecurity, an overhang that, am I really doing this right? Am I helping as much as I could? And people want to do it better. They want to do it better, and thus there's often a moment in a donor's life or a foundation's life where they need to reassess, recalibrate, look at that vision, look at that mission, look at the guiding principles, see where they're going, assess and evaluate the results. So we enter at a time, I would say, when a donor is on that level of the philanthropic curve where it's okay, but we know we can do better.
Again, you talk about the scientific approach to philanthropy, but you also talk about the poetry of philanthropy. Is the poetry of philanthropy the same as the art of philanthropy? Talk about this whole poetry of philanthropy.
Well, what I mean about the poetry of philanthropy is the soul of philanthropy. In fact, this morning I gave a talk at the Boston Foundation that we are now part of. The Philanthropic Initiative merged into the Boston Foundation the first of the year. And I was talking about the art and science of philanthropy, and I turned to a very dear friend of ours who was there, a woman in her 90s, who's an artist, very accomplished artist, Dorothy Arnold. And I said, what is the definition of art, Doffy? I said to her. She said, she sort of hesitated, didn't like being asked a question in another group. She said, it's the soul, it's my soul that I put on my canvases. And I think that is in essence what you're doing with your giving. Your philanthropy is an articulation of your values and your passions. So that's your soul. That's the art side. And it's important not to lose sight of it, even though the name of the game is effectiveness. In other words, so that's kind of like the tension.
That's so interesting. And in the time we have left, I'm curious about this. I'm going to get to this. With the bottom line orientation that we all have to have, those of us who run nonprofits who have to demonstrate the value of how we use the gift, if you will, of a foundation, we have to be bottom line oriented. Foundations have to be bottom line oriented. Hard numbers with the art, with the soul. Is it a constant, never-ending balance?
Constant, never-ending, and there's a concern, and TPI has been a proponent of strategic philanthropy for 23 years. Not that we invented it, but we've been selling it. You should do your giving the way you do your investing, and don't, and all that. So we believe in that, but there's a concern in the field that if you keep measuring and everything goes to measurement and effectiveness and results, will you be more risk adverse? Will in essence rigor be more important than relevance?
Because we're so bottom line oriented, is that the danger that everything has to be quantified?
Exactly. I mean, if you say to yourself, I'm only going to be driven by process, and you lose sight of the art side of the coin, the side of the coin that relates to soul and love, because philanthropy and
the gift of love.
The gift of love. If you lose sight of that, you're just not going to do it.
We learned an awful lot by talking to you and listening and learning from you. Thank you very much, Peter.
You're entirely welcome, Steve. Thank you.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Johnson & Johnson, Health First New Jersey, TD Bank, the Russell Berrie Foundation, and by Community Education Centers. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and northjersey.com. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.